shitty job I did last time.
Okay, I just thought.
Hey, you guys, I only got probably a few minutes before my phone dies. I didn't expect this furnace was going to take this long, but so let me just say it wasn't my cup of tea. I watched the first hour and I turned it off when he almost killed himself with heroin. So it wasn't really my deal. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty hard
Okay.
to watch. I mean, if somebody's self-destructing, it's just like, you know, you got it made. Well, I don't know at that point he was had it made, but yeah,
Well, he
it's all,
was selling stuff. I mean,
yeah,
he and Tina had kind of been a thing and then weren't a thing, and he's starting to sell stuff, and he's starting to run into Renee and move some art.
yeah.
I thought.
So 27, is that the 27 club of all the
I
rock
think
stars?
so.
Or,
Yeah.
20, or is it
Oh, yeah.
28?
You know, I'm not
27.
sure. Is
No,
it
they call the
27?
27.
Yeah.
They call it the
27.
27 Club.
Yeah, Jimi
Okay,
Hendrix and Jim Morrison and
Weird.
Janis Joplin.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's very, very odd that he would
That
fall
is so
on
weird.
that
Yeah.
birthday. You know, he's kind of a rock star though. I mean, my God, I mean, wouldn't
Yeah.
anybody want to be 21 years old and, you know, and the Castle and, you know, Documenta in Germany and the Whitney. And I mean, everybody just dreams of that. And we hate the people that happens to, you know.
It's-
William Defoe, the electrician. Well, I'm glad I didn't make it. I'm 40. I'm glad it gave me time to develop. Yeah, right, man.
Yeah, but maybe he wouldn't have made it to 40 if he had gotten it
Well,
so
yeah,
quick.
yeah, right. Yeah, he had
No.
13 years on Basquiat.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And then
It seemed like
yeah,
the death of Andy Warhol kind of sent him into a spiral. He was
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
drain after that. So I think that's kind of what
Yeah.
precipitated that.
yeah, that was kind of a catalyst for that.
Yeah.
In this Warhol documentary I'm watching, Dennis Hopper was right there at the factory and in some of Warhol's movies and hanging out with him and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, and then of course the Milo, the Gary Oldman character, is Schnabel, and all of his family was played by the real Schnabel wife and his children. I don't know if you noticed that in the
no, I didn't.
in the
His
credits.
wife was a casting director.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah, I
that was
did.
pretty cool, I thought.
I think Schnabel said he was the guy at the caviar shop. He was the actor that played the guy behind the counter.
No,
No, that wasn't Schnabel.
that was somebody
somebody
else who we've heard of before, but
I think he was a waiter somewhere in the thing. Just
In the caviar shop?
No, just
Oh, in a-
they were at dinner or something.
another restaurant.
Yeah, there was something.
He did
I
cameo.
read something special about the guy behind the counter. I can't remember what it was now.
He played Babyface Nelson in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
There you are.
Yes, he did.
But
Yeah.
don't call him Babyface.
Don't
Yeah.
call him Babyface. Yeah.
And he only takes black people's money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, it was interesting because I didn't know that much about Basquiat. I mean, I'd heard of him, but of course, probably my own biases or whatever. I really did think that he was a ghetto artist that came from the ghetto. I didn't realize, like Mike had said, that and that we saw is that he was actually well educated, and I was just kind of surprised at that because I had never taken note of his art that much. And the reason is because it is so angry. When I look at it, it's that anger and that pain just kind of just comes right through. At least for me, it just comes right through. And I'm not comfortable, you know, and I suppose that's not the way to be about art, but it's kind of how it's so strong. So Cherry, it was really eye-opening for me because I didn't know that much about him, and it was so interesting to find out, and so sad to see a talent once, especially when they started explaining a lot of the images. That's too bad a talent like that had to leave us so soon. But again, like we said, there's so many that left us way too soon. But it was really interesting, and I'm glad I saw it, and I saw both things. That was good. Anyone?
See, I want to go back to Mattson's point about his upbringing and that how he developed as an artist. I think there's a big hole in this movie because you don't know anything about that except for a couple of secondhand references to it, and I think that makes him a bit of a poser. At least in my mind about this. I mean, he like Mike said, he didn't have to sleep in a box. He didn't have to live that lifestyle. He didn't have to be the starving artist. That was his choice. Now, to what degree it informed his art, clearly it did. But that was a giant hole in this movie that you sort of learn secondhand on the backside of this movie that I think was a story flaw. I think a viewer was entitled to know that.
Well, I think you're right. I think this is a loving look from the inside.
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah,
This is not a documentary. It's not a
No.
It is what
A
it is
friend.
from a do no evil standpoint.
Yeah, an artist to artist. Yeah.
I think that's my critique of the movie. I have no problem sitting and watching a movie about a guy self-destructing. I got no problem with that at all. I just wish there'd have been more character development or something. I just felt like it was lacking in a lot of detail and in context. That was kind of just went from one scene to another. He's walking around in his bathrobe, and I would have liked to have learned more about the guy, I guess is my point.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I don't think we had it. We got it.
It
Yeah,
was like,
see-
isn't this cool? Oh, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? And he buys dinner for that
Yeah.
table of 12 business people.
yeah.
And,
See, I think you can do a real sympathetic portrait of somebody and still be accurate about the basics of his life.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with all of that. It felt a little thin or whatever. And then you've got Schnabel being arty. I kind of like the surfing in the sky. I mean, that was kind of,
those were great shots.
Yeah,
yeah,
they
that
were.
was like pretty darn cool, I thought. And so he wanted to go to Hawaii. At the end, he goes, "I'm going to go to Maui and open a tequila shop and blah blah blah, blah whatever."
Yeah.
But it's hard to walk away, man, when you got that kind of a fame and notoriety and making that kind of money, man. It would be hard to walk away from all of that.
To me, it was kind of a combination of a movie about Schnabel and then a movie about Basquiat. Schnabel liked to wear pajamas. He liked a lot of the things that he portrays Basquiat doing as things that he did. He puts himself in the movie as Gary Oldman with his family. I think Matson or somebody said that it's not a documentary. It's not a biopic. It's kind of an art movie.
Yeah. It's an
Schnabel put
artist
together.
to an artist. Yeah. An artist that likes another artist. And
so
that's what,
much of the action happens with him. Almost, he's the only one in the scene. So
Mhm.
there's no way to recreate any history from that.
No.
It's just whatever Schnabel decided to make of the movie. Him riding
Schnabel
the
also picked all the
bicycle.
music. He selected all the music and he performed some of the music.
Yeah.
I thought the soundtrack was great.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Early
Those
Stones.
those were his paintings in the gallery there at the beginning. I don't know if you could tell, but they were broken plate paintings, and they were huge. Remember when Basquiat walks out, says, Mary Boone's going, "Hey, you," You move that over there. And he's just like, well, fuck you. And he leaves. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were Snobel's paintings. Why they're considered good, I don't know, but whatever.
Is Schnabel considered a great artist, or?
Oh yeah, he was like a really big name during those times.
Hmm.
I even had a guy that came when I was at graduate school in Nebraska. He was there on a sabbatical replacement, and I was his TA teaching his classes and whatnot. He was going on and on about Julian Schnabel this and Julian Schnabel that. He didn't like him, he was just like complaining about it or whatever. And then I think what they said in that interview was like, why are just a few artists picked? I mean, there were lots of graffiti artists, but you have Basquiat, Keith Haring, and damn it, I can't remember the third guy. But there were a lot of people doing graffiti art, which I don't really like the tagging and all that. I think it looks like shit, but oh well.
Yeah.
What was the third one? Oh, it was Kenny Schnarf. He did. He graduated to like these cartoonish things. There was a period there in the 70s and 80s where cartoon style art was a big deal. So,
I mean, it's still got a following with Banksy and
yeah. And he's made bank on that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I got about 2% battery left. So before I die, I think it's my pick this week. So I haven't seen it before, so I'm gonna pick Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee movie.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Just because I never saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, me either. I've always heard about it, never got around to watching it. So now I'm
Good. It's good.
It's the
Thanks, Jeff. I was thinking that just a minute ago when you said that you were about ready to die and leave.
Yeah, it could be any minute.
Yeah.
Had to get that out.
Ain't it the
Good.
truth?
Thanks.
Good.
We'll
Take care. Happy Valentine's Day if you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And next Monday is President's Day, but I don't think we're going to count that as a holiday. It's not,
No. Yeah.
it's kind of like a mattress holiday, I think.
Yes.
A what?
A mattress
Mattress
holiday.
holiday.
And all washers and dryers are on sale.
That's
So
right.
we're not stopping this train for that.
I don't know.
That's
For
right.
38 years, I got it off work, so it was good with me.
Well, yeah, you're a banker's holiday. Yeah.
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 My wife.
I
gets that
actually,
sort of stuff,
I actually
too.
know a guy who was an executive for a chain of stores, and they used to have a sale called Birthington's Wash Day.
Oh, da-da-da. Yeah.
I didn't think it up.
To wind back to our again, thanks again, Jeff. But to go back to our discussion, whenever I hit Google, to ask for things, I was asking about this, and a lot of other questions always come up, and one of them was, what is it about art that we give it so much importance? And I thought that would be fun to just talk about to the group. Why is it so important to everyone in America?
So
To the point where they'll spend $110 million for it.
Well, it's a method of expression.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's sold for $1 billion or sold for nothing. It still remains a form of expression, like speech, like
It's just like writing.
like reading. It's one of our important forms of expression. Some people do it better than others. Some people, it's a talent. We just asked a moment ago, why was it him? Well, you can say that about singers and writers and authors. Some people are in the right place at the right time with the right message, and other people are not in the right time or with the right message, but 2-3 decades later, their work sustains itself and they come around and then they're appreciated. Sometimes it's, decades later, but
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
how we express ourselves.
yeah. I think as humans, we all want to express ourselves, whether it's singing or art or something. We need to express ourselves in another mode other than, and even talking, certainly talking. And we have to. I think in order to be a complete human being, you have to kind of fulfill yourself some way. So I think that's why I think it's that seeing in somebody else where they were able to take your emotions and put them on the stage or on a canvas or wherever. And I think we connect with that. It's a universal thing. We can connect with people that can express themselves so well that it connects with us. We connect with them, they connect with us, whether we're looking at them on the stage or looking them on a canvas or hearing a song. I mean, how many songs, I don't know about you guys, but that song, what was it the one by Bonnie Raitt? Again,
like
so
that.
emotional. Yeah. That was so good and so emotional. And you can just hear it and you get it yourself. So that's why I think art is a necessity. And when someone really brings out what a lot of people feel, I think that's why they become so popular. So I think.
Yeah, it's tapping into the universal creativity of the universe, and it also enriches the environment for people. It's a gift that people give. Now, not all. There's many different schools about the purpose and function of art. I mean, a lot of people, it's strictly political, which I think I don't really buy into that. You also look like, what do we know about ancient cultures? Their art. That's what we know about them. That's what's left. And architecture is considered art. So the pyramids, all of that stuff, that's what we know. We almost like characterize past cultures and civilizations by the art that they left. Yeah. So
I think David Bowie kind of explained it in his interview too with Charlie Rose, where he talked about why he didn't want to be an actor and why he was driven by the other arts. I mean, he said I was surprised to hear him talk about how attached he was to visual arts. He said, he said he owned a lot of art. He owned art by Basquiat, and he owned Warhols. He owned a lot of that stuff, but he said acting just wasn't something that appealed to him. He was more, well, I forget the term he used, but he was more in the now, more into the art, the fine arts.
I don't know. What was it? Iggy Stardust? I mean, if that wasn't a character, I don't know what was.
Ziggy.
Yeah.
What, the man who fell to earth?
Yeah, that was a painting. And Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Another one of his movies.
Right. I thought at the time he's tried to act, he carried it off.
Yeah.
He acted when he was on stage. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Any of his music
That's
stuff.
what I mean.
He was a performing artist.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those guys that reinvented himself every album. He invented a new character, the doppelganger, so he can be creative, and which makes me think of, after the Beatles took acid and Paul McCartney was thinking about Sgt. Pepper, they were able to completely change their presentation and gave them the ability to write different kinds of songs, like, Within You and Without You would not have been on any of their other things. Another thing about, the visual arts and rock and roll and everything, it can pull you out of the gutter. Like the limousine driver said, hey man, you did it, man. You went from of course he didn't go from nothing, but you can rise strictly on your creativity, and not have to be a banker or a stockbroker or, working with your house and all that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I think even in Basquiat's case here, he was the beneficiary of the people that he knew. Okay, and they're the ones that lifted him up, exposed him to other people that say Basquiat's chauffeur driver didn't have those brakes, didn't meet those people. He might have been as talented as Basquiat. We don't know. He didn't get the brakes. And sometimes it's who you know, not what you know. And I think that's true in many instances. I'm not negating his art. I'm just saying, he got breaks, and everybody
Well,
does.
He
I
dropped
think
those
he
little
was
postcards off for
right.
Right.
Yeah, he was smart enough to recognize it's not what you know, it's who you know. And then once he took that, and so when he knew he had talent and he knew he wanted to get, and once he saw Warhol and he's in New York, yeah, he definitely, I think he definitely worked it to make sure that he would get in with the people that he needed to see or talk
Yeah.
to or whatever.
And that's most definitely part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he knew how to play the game.
exactly.
Play
Exactly.
the game. Man. He knew what he wanted, and he went for it, and he got it. And
Right.
his art is excellent in my book. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's a lot to do with it.
What, tell us more about that, because I don't think I'd ever seen a piece of his art I wouldn't have recognized a piece of his art. So what is it about his art that makes it so excellent?
Shit.
Come on.
I don't know. I don't have a bunch of art jargon to throw out at you, man. I just like it, and everybody else does. So I don't know. I mean, some people might hate it. Donna doesn't like it because it's too challenging or whatever, and that's understandable. It creates an emotional reaction. I mean, it's actually working to do that. There's just something about it. There's a freedom. There's a spontaneity. There's a strength. I don't know. There's just something. I mean, I've always been attracted to that. To his work. We'd all, like to be able to paint that way. But
I mean, it opens with him with his mom walking into the Pablo Picasso Guernica, right?
Yeah.
And the painting behind Terry, kind of Guernica-esque, I guess, but in color.
in a way, yeah, I'm sure that really affected him to see the Guernica when he was young like that.
Meanwhile, else would they put that in there,
Yeah.
Right.
One of the most famous paintings of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's hard to explain. Bill, sometimes stuff just has it, whatever it may be. It's just like, it has it for me. And, our art is like taste. Everyone has their own taste. There's no accounting for taste. And in fact, in my philosophy, art is 100% subjective. If you like a pile of shit, then that's art for you, and nobody can tell you it's not.
And it's an emoji. Yeah.
The eye of the beholder, isn't that
right? The eye, exactly.
Yeah.
The eye, as in eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, is anybody else in here was familiar with any of his art before seeing the movie, or even now?
Yeah, all I knew was that he was a graffiti artist. That's all I really knew, and I had seen some of his works. But until you really get into, like, when they explain how the barbed wire and the skull and the black and the white and all that stuff, that I quite frankly didn't see that because I didn't give it that chance, I guess. I looked at it kind of superficially. And that's what I liked about this. It gave me a chance to look at it a lot closer and see, I see all that anger really coming out on that. So that was interesting. But, again, eye of the beholder.
I thought the skull was Hank Aaron.
Oh, yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
So I was reading an article about art, people who fake paintings.
Oh, yeah.
And how that some of them are so good at it that they can fake almost anybody. And that one of the guys in one of the books said, yeah, if you really went into the galleries today, a lot of the paintings that are hanging up in these galleries are fakes that are
Yep.
just well done. So to me, that's kind of an interesting commentary on how the artist reaches in and pulls feeling out and so forth, but somebody else can just use exactly the same technique and simulate that to the point that people will buy that as genuine in a gallery or some other high level setting, which to me really emphasizes how important the set is rather than exactly what the piece of art can do. I'm sure the art has power, but people go in there expecting to be moved by this piece, and so that kind of
And then you
sets
have a
them up.
salesperson. Then you have
Yeah.
a salesperson that is
Yeah.
telling them what they should be feeling, So
Yeah.
yeah, and then it becomes also a status symbol. Like
Right.
Oh yeah, status.
Yeah.
So,
So
while we're on this subject, what do you guys what do you think about Andy Warhol and his work? The soup cans, the Elvis screen prints, the Brillo boxes, the
Maryland.
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. What do you guys? What's your reaction to Warhol? I mean, in the documentary I was watching, it said, yeah, it's popular. It gives Americans something that they don't have to think about, man. They don't have to stand there to Jackson Pollock and look at it and look it all over and try to figure out. It's like, boom, it's Campbell soup.
Yeah.
And
Right
multiple
there.
colors, multiple iterations of Campbell soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it always the same to everybody? No.
Growing up in Kansas City, I went on a field trip to the Nelson every year, from grade school to high school. And so, we had the opportunity to get exposed to some, they have a great Asian collection, they have a great Egyptian collection. They had a little bit of modern art there, not a lot. One of my favorite things at the Nelson was a guard that guarded the Andy Warhol room. And he was made of wax, just stood there. But you did not know that he was a piece of wax because he just looked like anyone else that would be standing in that room looking at that art. I became enamored with that. I started walking up to that and seeing if he really would move or if he was breathing and then I had the opportunity once when I was in New York to go to the Museum of Modern Art and see some of the Warhols that they have there. And for some reason, that really moved me to see the actual stuff. And it wasn't as big as you thought it was going to be. It wasn't as vibrant as you thought it was going to be. But it was, I don't know, there was just something about walking into it that struck me much more than it had when I saw a few pieces of Nelson. Anyone here been to Crystal Bridges?
Yeah.
I know we ran into Bill there one time. That's kind of an unusual paradox to me because you've got the Walton family has created a huge artistic museum set up there. And to me, that family is symbolic of a greedy corporate entity that pays people less than minimum wage and is supplemented by the tax dollars the rest of us pay in food stamps and things because they can't get a regular living. But then they have Rosie the Riveter there. They have, some really good Wyeth stuff. And I found that kind of a strange paradox.
And it's all free.
And it's right. And it's all free. You just walk in.
Wow. So kind of giving back or trying to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Making some gesture.
Guilt.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, I could not say that it wasn't, And then, like I said, to top it all off, that particular day that I was there, so was Bill and his wife. We just happened to run into each other, and it was just a happenstance, but it just made for a perfect day. I got to enjoy the art, and then I got to see Bill, and it was fun.
So, yeah. By the way, Warhol was quite the game player also. He was a very successful commercial artist in New York in the 60s. Can you imagine making 65 grand a year in 1960? 1960, 62, 63 or whatever. He was a highly sought after, and he had a technique that nobody could figure out how to copy. And when he first did the Campbell's soup thing, he was always asking people, he'd show which one of these things do you think I should do? And the very first Campbell soups, one of them was, the graphic representation. The other one had dripping, running paint like the abstract expressionists. And whoever it was he was asking was like, no, the one without the drips, go with the one. And the way that he even thought of doing a Campbell soup fan is he asked somebody, I'm not sure, an art dealer or somebody, said, well, how do you, if I want to be a fine artist, how do I decide what to do? And the guy said, well, do something that's important to you. And that was Campbell's soup, because he had it every single day of his life. That's what his mother fed him. Campbell's tomato soup and bread. It was a very important thing to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite the game player.
Jeez, I could make an oatmeal art.
Yeah, you could. Quaker oat donut.
Well, they did say that in this interview, the Charlie Rose interview, that Bowie's portrayal of Warhol was the most accurate of the portrayals, that have been done of him. That he was really a pretty gentle guy, I guess.
Yeah. In the Doors movie, Crispin Glover plays Andy Warhol. That was kind of weird, but yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah. See, I really liked Warhol's work when I discovered him in high school, because it felt accessible to me.
Yeah.
Basically, and I felt like I got it, and then my attitude towards his work seemed to change as I got older, because it didn't seem to be as interesting to me on every different level. The more my limited exposure to modern art or art in general, it just seemed like, okay, that was then. This is now. There are more people that I'm interested in. But at the beginning, I thought, aha, okay, this is a way into to learn.
Yeah.
Is anybody familiar with Claus Oldenburg?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's one of my
Very
favorite pop artists. I actually did a research paper on him, and when I was in graduate school, and they just make things that people can relate to.
Like Charles Russell.
Yeah, the Cowboys and whatever.
Cowboys and whatever. Uh-huh.
Hey, so
Who drew the dog sitting around playing poker?
Yeah.
That was great. Well,
my
of course,
dad used to have a tapestry of that.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
there was always Velvis's.
Yeah,
Remember? A Velvis?
a Velvet Elvis.
yeah, Velvet
Yes.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Of course,
So awful.
they feed you all this New York and art world and Europe and all that stuff, all that stuff in school and whatever. And when it comes right down to it, shit, it doesn't matter what you make. It's the fact that you can make something and somebody will buy it. You don't have to go to if you make it, some people just strictly make stuff that they know will sell. There's nothing wrong with that. Christ, it's better than going to the factory every day or the office or the school like I do. So, craftsmanship also, I just like well-crafted thing. I don't like things that are made crappy. Of course, that's really, that's chic sometimes too, but yeah, just like making stuff. So
Though there was that whole discussion in the front of this film between Basquiat and his, forget the character's name that he was with, where they were talking about once you make it and once you find a style that you like and it becomes popular, well, then, then you may sell it, and then they're going to want you to replicate it again and again and again.
And then again, yeah.
Yeah. And restrict your personal growth.
Yeah, that's true. That's a trap, man. It's like, I changed all the time. I'd do something and okay, I figured this out, and then go on to something else, which is why I never really made a big deal. Although, if somebody had been paying me $20,000 for a sculpture, I think I could have pumped out about 200 more of them.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
And then, did you hear what the Julian Schnabel character, what Gary Oldman said? He said the Zen painters in China used to change their name
Yeah.
so they could change their style and come on as a different person.
Mm-hmm.
That reminded me of just Bowie in general when we were talking about how he reinvented himself many times.
All the time, right.
And at SMS, I got a degree, I got a BFA in art, but I went there to study ceramics, making pots. I thought it was interesting. It's like, why not? It was just something to learn how to do. And we were, enamored with this one Japanese potter, Shoji Hamada, which I think in Japan they say Hamada Shoji, but he never signed his work. And somebody asked him one time, why don't you sign his work? And he says, well, later on, all of my crappy stuff, all of my bad stuff will be attributed to my competitors, and all of their good stuff will be attributed to me. That was a good strategy. So. Yeah, it's a interesting thing to do. I don't know. I was doing it ever since I was a kid, sports and art. I didn't do any music, sometimes to my detriment, I think. But
Well, I'm glad I saw the movie. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed learning what I did learn about it, and I really got a kick. What hit home to me was when Sam Rockwell, who played the thug, and his buddy and they beat Basquiat up that time, but they were stealing a panel of his to take and go sell somewhere.
yeah.
And that's like people have just torn the hell out of New Orleans and other places where banks things.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing Jeffrey Wright so young.
Yeah.
I see him a lot in things anymore, and it kind of always wondered, where he came from and all that. But that had to be one of his first movies.
Yeah.
What other movies is he in? I don't remember him from anything. What?
Oh, he's in Westworld. He was in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, great role in Boardwalk Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was actually on stage in New York before he was in Basquiat. So that's where Schnabel had heard of him and seen him. So he first made it on the stage in Broadway.
Look at that color on the skull there next to it's the same color as my olive drab cap and my sweater.
You
Right
planned
there.
it that way, didn't you? Yeah.
You may
No,
blend
not
right into
really.
that.
I thought you had a UPS gig going on.
He has brown shorts on. That's right.
Well, it's not actually
Oh.
brown. It's olive drab.
Okay. all
Dark.
right.
Okay.
This is the 1950s. This thing is 1950 U.S. Army issue.
Really?
Does it have your name on it?
No, it had my dad's name on it. No, I bought it at Army Surplus Store.
Yeah.
At one time, I did have my uncle's uniform, the Ike jacket
Oh yeah.
and the pants. Yeah, I was wearing that during graduate school. Then it got burned in fire number 1.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey Wright is also in all the James Bond movies now.
Really?
He plays
Really?
he plays Felix, the CIA operative.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, HBO is doing a commemorative of all the James Bond movies. You can see
Oh,
just about all of them if you want, up to this point.
did you guys perchance see Nathan Lane do it? He does this bit that he's becoming the new older and more mature James Bond. Oh God, I won't go in, but if you get a chance, it's just fun. You know, it was on, I think it was on Colbert. You know, he's the new Bond that's going to be a little more, you know, he's older, more mature. There's a lot. And the name of his will be oh God, what's the word for an 80-year-old?
Forgetful.
Octogenarian.
Geezer.
The octogenarian.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, geezer too, but oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the name of an octogenarian pussy. So
Oh,
it's like, oh my God. But
Hey,
anyway,
that's
it was-
canceled. We can't, we gotta totally throw that out. That's canceled. You can't do that these days.
yeah.
Can't say that.
once I told my dad when he was alive that I said, Dad, you know that the 60s, the new 50, 70s, the new 60s, and he goes, yeah, but 80's still fucking 80. Can't get over that part. Well, do we have any recommendations? Well, we have a few minutes left.
Oh God.
I watched sort of a documentary thing called Chaco Canyon, and I'm not even sure it was on Netflix or Prime, but it's about some ruins in Arizona that
They're
are
beautiful.
extremely elaborate.
They
Yeah.
are incredible, Jeff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I've been there. Thanks. I'm gonna watch that like
Is-
tonight or tomorrow or when.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have to
cool.
look that up too, because
Yeah,
Is that in, that's in New Mexico, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the northwest
yeah.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chaco
that's right.
Canyon, and was sort of like an epicenter for all those ancient cultures. Like it was like all roads led to Chaco Canyon.
I think it's north of Grants, New Mexico.
Yeah, something like that. And when you look at it, and I don't know if they brought this up, but part of the cliff collapsed on the ruins.
Oh no, they didn't say. I missed it if they said that, but they talked about how much stuff they had to bring there from a distance to put it up. It was massive, 4-story tall structures or more,
Yeah.
and
And they
all
left in
the-
1100 and nobody knows where they went.
Yeah, and they didn't really probably live there. They probably went there to worship. So, or some, some kind of a thing.
There's a sports arena.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a big population there. I mean, it was I'd been there, and we went back to Santa Fe, and there was a gal, she did a kind of a talk on it, and she said, and there are similar structures in Asia, which is like that was like the cherry on top of it. You know, it's like, oh my God, you know, there are all these fantastic structures, but there are other places in the world too. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
Well,
cool.
They're not linked by balloons by any chance, are they?
Where's Mulder when you need him?
Well, that's probably a function of the collective unconscious, that there's things that all humans share. I mean, they were
Yeah.
built pyramids in
Pyramids
Mexico,
all
and
over.
pyramids in Egypt, and pyramids in India, and it's
But
so
there's
something in
pyramids
the air
in
that I don't know if you guys
Bosnia. Yeah.
know about this, but some people will invent or discover something at exactly the same time in opposite parts of the world.
Mhm.
And the whole thing in art is like, if you have an idea, you better do that idea, because that idea is out there and somebody else is going to do it.
Right.
If you don't hop on it and get going, but yeah, there's something where we're all we're connected somehow. The collective-
Mycelia.
What is it?
Mycelia.
Oh, yeah, mushrooms.
There you go.
The mycelia of our souls.
Right.
Well, I watched a movie. I didn't want to watch as thrilled as I am with the outcome of the Super Bowl. I did not want to watch 9 hours of pregame on Fox, so I was just channel surfing, and I watched Godzilla King of the Monster from 1956 with Raymond Burr. This is an anti-recommendation. I do not recommend this movie. It sucked, but I was talking to Cecilia, my wife, and I said, I bet the whole time Raymond Burr was filming this, he was going, I hope to God I get that Perry Mason role. So I don't have to do this
Yeah.
shit anymore. And next year, 57 was the first year of the Perry Mason
Oh,
show.
Perry Mason. Oh God. And he's
That's
still on. He is still on late night TV.
Amazing.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jeff, did that Chaco Canyon, was it The Mystery of Chaco Canyon
That sounds right.
with Robert Redford?
Yes, narrated.
What's
Yeah.
that? What's that on, Mike?
I'm looking.
Okay. Yeah, when I went there, it was dirt roads. There were no paved roads to
Yeah.
Chaco
Right.
Canyon
Yeah,
in
it's
the
still
late-
that
in the-
way.
is it? In the
I was just
90s?
Yeah.
there a few years ago.
It's gravel to get out to the campgrounds and all
Is
that. You
there-
drive.
Is there even a visitor center there now? I mean, I didn't remember the
Yeah,
visitor center.
there is. You know, there's other built up areas around it. I mean,
Yeah,
within,
some of those places are
miles.
15, 20 miles away that they're
Yeah.
aligned with it
yeah.
in a straight line from like the equinox thing. I learned something too about the moon. I didn't realize the moon goes through like a 16-year cycle or something like that, where it moves back and forth to where during the equinox that it isn't always rising in exactly the same place on the horizon. It goes back and forth.
I might just have to go there this summer on the way to Kansas City.
Well, another kind of interesting thing about that park place, they said it's one of the darkest areas for night viewing, that it's farther away from any city, any location in the United States. So if it's a clear night, I would say, Terry, if you go, try to time it with the weather, because we got there and it was overcast every night. Well, I think the first night it wasn't. So we were kind of disappointed, because that was a big aspect of why we went. But the structures are pretty cool too. So there's something about the night astronomy in the area.
Yeah, during my travels in the 90s, I made a point to go to all of the ruins in the Southwest. So there's some pretty cool other ones. Canyon de Chelly, Bandelier.
Yep.
several
All those
Keats-
are
Keats
great.
Seal.
Quick
Yeah.
cliff dwellers.
Right down in Gila Wilderness. All kinds of really cool places to go. I love
Mesa Verde.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mesa Verde. Right. Yeah.
Terry, you may know that here in the Pacific Northwest, there are petroglyphs by indigenous people on the cliffs around the Columbia Gorge.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They're 150 feet in the air, and there's no way to get there that we know of, but there are petroglyphs there. And people have taken pictures of them and that sort of thing. But that sort of stuff was going on all over, I think, somewhere.
Terry, it's on Prime.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, Chaco Canyon is, huh?
All right. Any more?
And I just watched Mizzou basketball and Chiefs football.
But I don't know if I did for sure or not, but I think I talked about seeing Tar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, it's nominated as one of the best pictures, and Kate Blanchett as one of the best actresses. So you get a 2 for there, and it's on Peacock Premium. I just wanted to let everybody.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think it's up for best
It
director too, isn't it? To me, it's the best movie I've seen.
Oh, you saw it too. Okay, so it won some sort of trifecta of awards between the Critics' Choice, the Golden Globes, and the nominations from the Academy. But anyway, 2 hours and 38 minutes, a little bit on the long side. But if you want to see something and then find out what happens on Academy night, you can get a 2 for there.
When's the Academy Awards?
think it's
March something,
week of March 12th, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to
something like that.
put that in there, would you, Terry?
I think
Minutes come out. Oh, here you go. Bill, look it up.
no, I think no, I don't have it.
Siri will have it.
Just Google
Just a
it.
second.
Yeah.
So-
Mr. Google.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to mention this or not, but Mike and
What
Bill,
are the Academy Awards?
I know,
12th.
95th Academy Awards is on Sunday, March 12th, starting at 7 p.m. Central Time.
All right, there you go.
Thanks, Alexa.
Yeah,
I thought it
there's
was March 12th.
a birthday
Well-
party. We're all in 1971 people
What?
in June 24th in Kansas
that's-
City.
That's our high school reunion. People are having a 70th birthday party because everybody turned 70 this year.
Not me.
How'd you get in? Late or late or early?
Yeah, both early. I'm not 70 till September.
Well, it's this year.
This year.
Oh, in
Yeah.
that year.
Yeah, and then in our year. In
I thought you
June,
meant
right,
by
in
June
June,
24th.
June 24th is
There's a
only
cutoff.
1 week, is only 1 week from the middle of the year. So it's right in the middle of the year.
So what do 70-year-old people do for a birthday?
Get drunk.
Big naps.
Nap.
Yeah,
Eat
A
soft
long
food.
nap, yeah.
yeah.
A long nap and maybe some Advil. I don't know.
I get crazy.
You're gonna drive back for a nap, Terry?
I need a road trip, and I could bring for some special special refreshments too,
Yeah,
if
there you
anyone's
go.
interested.
There you go.
Well, with James Bond, that thing about him getting older, there was this one part where, his libido isn't the same anymore. And
Oh,
one
God.
of the Bond girls, one of the Bond girls came over to his place and said, "I'm here to give you super sex." And he said, "I'll take the soup." So,
Yeah, that's a Nathan Lane line for sure.
yeah, it is. Nathan Lane Colbert, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take the soup.
Yeah, I saw that. I'd forgotten though about the James Bond thing.
Yeah, gold bond.
It's just good to
Yeah.
see him after 2 years of no activity on Broadway. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
nice to see a guy like Nathan Lane back.
yeah. Well, I like him in that, what was it, Only Murders in the Building? You guys seen
Oh,
that?
I've seen that, but he got into it like at the third season
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
I haven't seen his episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what he talked. He said he got awards for it because he doesn't talk, because he's actually doing a American Sign Language. He has a son in it that's deaf, and it's all done in sign language. So it's interesting.
Wow.
But yeah, that's a good
All
movie.
right.
All right, folks.
All right.
All right, guys
All
and
right.
girls.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Happy
much.
Valentine's Day, you guys.
Yes.
Same
Yeah,
to
you too.
Bye, everybody.
next
Okay.
Take
See
care.
you next week.
Nice
All
pitch,
right.
Terry.
All right. Bye. Thanks, Terry.
Right.
Bye.
See ya. Good.
Bye, guys and girls.